Hi everyone at Unique Kids. Thank you so much for joining me today for the Art with Holly workshop. Now you'll have probably seen on the group and on social media the activity that I've posted and the materials list for today's workshop. So we're going to make today a standing card. So we're thinking a bunny standing card that kind of rocks into an Easter egg. And then we're making hopefully 2 flower pot holders. And I do actually have here with me some compost and some flowers that we're going to be planting in today's workshop. I just thought I'd show a few materials that I've got as well for today. So I've got things like white paint, some brushes. I've got plenty of tissue paper, coloured paper, white card. I've got obviously glue and scissors, and then things like glitter, googly eyes, pom-poms, possibly some tape that we could use if needed, some sequins, some ribbon, so anything really that you can decorate your card with, or your flower pot if you like. Now I'll just show you a quick recap of all the things that we've made Easter kind of wise during these workshops. So the first one, we made this really cool fork painting, this chick fork painting, using like forks, nail brushes, and different things like that, which was really fun. I think I quite enjoyed it. Then I'm just showing a few here. We made these really cool bunny cones just using kind of coloured card, if I just show you that, like some sort of like bunny garden, which again was quite fun. Now one of my personal favourites was the hanging bunny, and we also made a chick one as well, which was really cool. Again, really cool decorations to hang around the house for Easter. And then last week we made these cool bunny holders in 2 different sizes, and we also made our chick pop-up card, which stands up like a little scene, and I thought that was again a really nice idea. Now, as you'll have probably seen on social media, this is our second to last Easter craft session. So we've got one more session next week just for the end of April. And then the start of May, we're going to be starting a new really exciting project, which I will tell you more about hopefully next week, I should imagine. Now, it's all planned out, so I think you will like it. But we are hoping to do it on Zoom. So again, all the info and the branding will be hopefully released next week at some point. Right, so I think we're going to get started with today's workshop. Now, I have 2 tin cans, I think I mentioned it on the list, for our bunny holders. And what I've done, I've just done this, 5 minutes before we started, just painted white paint, around the outside just so it can dry. You ideally want 2 coats on it, so what I would recommend doing is paint it, leave it, and then paint it again. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to get my tin cans out and I'm going to actually start painting. So I've just got some ready mix white paint in a palette. I'm just going to get my fine paintbrush and just dab the brush in there and just add another coat of that white to the tin can. Now don't worry too much about the streaks, don't worry too much about being able to see, part of the shade from the metal, that's fine. And also I think having the lines on it as well adds a bit of detail to it, and you can then clearly see that it's a tin can and that you're making something from recycled material, which again is really cool. And I think you all know that is one of the themes that I've been going for through these workshops, recycling and transforming materials that you normally throw away into craft, really, into things that you can use. Close that. So we're just going to keep adding our white paint to the side of the tin can. Try and get an even layer around. Don't worry too much about being able to see through and having streaks on it. So again, just roughly add it around, and you're just aiming to cover that can in white ready mix paint. So just aiming to cover it around. Don't worry too much about how it looks, because when it dries you can always add a second coat. Now what I'm doing is I'm going to finish this, and then we're going to move on to our first craft for the first half of the session, and then we're gonna come back to this. Now, if you want to just watch and then add stuff to yours later, then that is fine, because I should imagine it will be on its way to drying, but not fully. So again, if you do want to just watch and then add things to it later, then that is okay. And I just got some compost, you know, some soil and some flowers out, just to show you what it will look like. So again, just show you what you can use them for, really, because we've made stationary pots before using tin cans, so I thought making something like that is really cool. And then you can put it outside, you know, in the garden. Maybe think about even using seeds as well, so you know, seeds that you can get from the supermarket, and then you can do some planting. Now, with these being like Easter themed crafts, we are going to do a bunny kind of holder. However, if you want, you can do whatever you want. You can decorate it in any way possible. So rather than me painting it white, you know, you could also paint it, you know, some different colours, or you could use collage. You know, when we made the stationery pots last summer, it was like the end of August or something, we used cut paper, so strips of coloured paper that we just cut and then just stuck nicely onto the side. And again, a really, really nice idea. So as you can see, these are my tin cans. I've just got one here and then another one there. Kind of evenly done, you know, the paint isn't perfect on it. And again, it is quite streaky, but that is what you get, I think, when you start painting on this kind of material. So don't worry about that. All right, so now we're going to move on. While this is drying, we're going to move on to our chick or bunny rocking card. Now, I have decided to do a bunny to go along with our holders today. So I'm just going to get my white card out. Now, these videos are available to watch on YouTube, and I always share the video anyway on Facebook after the workshop. So if you haven't managed to join, then don't worry. Now, you want to get a piece of A4 white card and then just fold it nicely in half. That is at the moment what you're aiming to do. Now, I am going to start just by making the rocking bit with the Easter kind of egg. I'm not going to worry too much about the bunny yet, so again, you can always add that on at a later date if you want. So you're just going to fold the white card in half like I've just done. And then we're going to start by, it depends how big you want it as well, but I'm just going to start by cutting like an arc. So just, you wanting it to be something like that then you can open. With it being a card, you kind of want plenty of space, and if I just stand it up there, you can see it rocks side to side a little bit. So just again, push down on the folded bit. Now, I have got plenty of different coloured papers, and I've got coloured pens as well, so colouring is always an option if you would like to do that. Now, what I'm going to do, I think, is cut out another of these white rocking pieces, because the aim is we're going to make today 2 cards, and then we're going to do 2 plant pots. So again, the same process. So on with your white card, just fold it again in half. Hold it landscape and then fold it in half. So then you're folding this bit here, so it looks something like this. And then just make sure you're pushing down nicely on that fold. Now you want in quite a harsh crease, so again, similar to what we did with this card last week. So again, just pushing nicely down on the bit where you folded. And then you can see it opens like this, so you want to close it. Get your pair of scissors and then cut again like a semicircle. And the aim is the middle of the card will be the rocking element for it. So again, cut quite deeply. I'm going to try and make these two slightly different sizes if I can. Now if it does go wrong, then you can always just trim into it, but just make sure you don't cut that fold, because that is the element of our card. So I've got a slightly deeper egg this time, so this is going to be our Easter egg. And then I think we're going to start by cutting out the bunny first, and then we can just stick that on, just so that is done. And then we can start with the decorating. So here is what you should have at the moment. Something like this, and you can see the rock from side to side, and again are quite cool to display. You know, something very different. Now on my little design, I actually had a blue bunny. So again, you can choose whatever colour you want. I would stick to using tissue paper for the decorating though. Don't try and use tissue paper or anything for these templates. Now, I'm just going to use some scrap material that I've got left over. And you kind of want it in like a circle and then the two ears. So something along the lines of this, which is what we'd made about 2 or 3 weeks ago. So a nice circle and then the ears kind of on an angle. So if I show you, or you could use a pencil and just draw around. That could be another easy way to do it. So don't worry too much about the size of the circle. The aim is we're going to have the Easter bunny kind of peering over the egg. That's what it's going to look like. So don't worry too much about getting it the exact size of your card template, because that is okay. So again, something like that. So you can see to start with, I've started cutting out the circle. So I focus on the bottom, and then we're going to add the ears in. So again, go around an angle. And the good thing is when we've done this, we can use this template, and you've seen me do this in a few sessions now, using the template that we've got. If you want to duplicate, you can then just draw around it. So again, a nice way to make a duplicate of something. So remember, these ears need to be on some sort of slant. So try and get them as even as you can. Don't forget that you can just start trimming after, you know, making it look even if you want to. Right, so yeah, just try and get it as symmetrical as you can. Now, I hope you've all had a nice week. I think all this sunshine is making us want to do some craft, which is good. And thank you so much for all the photographs that you've been sending in. You know, they look really great. I do quite like seeing your craft and your interpretation of my activity. You know, it's quite good because obviously everyone's is going to look different. You know, you're all going to have different materials. And again, I think that is what makes it really fun. Now, this is my bunny rabbit head. And the aim is it's going to stick kind of at the back of the card. So it's going to look something like that. So we're just going to use the back of the card to just stick the bunny rabbit on. And it looks like it's peering over. So what we'll do again is we'll just use this as a template. And we're going to trace or cut around another piece of card. Now I think this time I'm going to use some of my pink paper and see if I can... Oh, that'll fit nicely on there. Yeah, so I'm going to use some of my pink sugar paper. Now I think paper and card is okay for this, but I wouldn't try and use tissue paper, as it is quite a flimsy material, so I would use that for the decorating. It's quite a nice material to decorate with, but again, it does tear easily, so just be careful of that. So at the moment, what we're doing is we're just cutting around and just making the template for our card, so the overall template. So we've got the Easter egg, the rocking Easter egg. And then now we're just working on the bunny rabbit's head before we start decorating, just so we know where everything's going to go and roughly what it's going to look like. But like I said before, this video does get saved onto Facebook, it gets recorded, and I can put it on YouTube. So again, if you haven't had a chance to join the activity, or you know someone that would like to join, then again you can easily share and show them that. And anyone is welcome to these workshops. So every Friday from 10 o'clock, so 10 till 11. And we are starting, like I said before, a new project in May. So more details about that will be released this week, hopefully. You know, it's all done and planned, so I think you'll really enjoy it. Again, following the theme of outdoors and recycling and using cardboard packaging, and that is a little bit of a clue. But it's going to be an ongoing project, so it's not going to be you make this and then we make a separate thing. We're going to be just doing a continuous thing, and hopefully it'll come together as one big scene. So that is another clue, but I'm not going to say anything else. So I've got 2 bunny rabbit heads here. So we've got one pink and one blue, just to brighten things up. Now we can either start by sticking the head on first or decorating. Now it is really up to you. I think I might start decorating first, just because I think we really want the head of the bunny over, and it looks like it's looking or leaning over. So ideally we want the bunny rabbit's head to stick on this side and not behind. So we'll start decorating and then we'll come back to this. Now to make it easier, I always just open it up, and then I'll show you another quick technique to adding colour on, rather than trimming and making it look exactly right. So here I've got loads of rainbow kind of colours. So I've got like my reds, my oranges, my yellows, all that bright stuff. So I'm going to start by adding some coloured paper stripes, and then I will work on adding my tissue paper, I think. So I'm just going to get, some of this red card, and I'm just going to start by trimming roughly a strip that's about 1 centimetre. So something like that. And then I'll show you what I normally do. So if I get my glue stick, there we are. So I normally use Pritt Stick because it's nice and easy. You know, you can use PVA glue, but it doesn't stick instantly. It can move around. It takes quite a long time to dry. So I would recommend using a Pritt Stick or the equivalent of a Pritt Stick. So what I normally do is just get my card, and I've just opened it up just to make it easier. Add a bit of glue, so just add 1 line of glue. And then I normally just stick the material on. So what you want to do is, obviously the right hand side is going to be the front of the card, so we're decorating that bit. And we're just going to line up the material that we're sticking on with the crease down the middle of the card, just so you can still see and it still bends, and that's all great. So now that we've added our red, flip it over, and then any extra bits at the side you can just trim off nicely, and you can make it fit your design that you're working on. So rather than cutting it down to size before you stick it on, just cut a strip and then stick it on, and then trim the overlap, and that just makes the process so much easier and nice and quick. So again, I'm going to do the same with my different materials. I'm just thinking about colours that I can use. I quite like a striped pattern, but I'm just thinking mainly about the colour. But you can, again, decorate it however you want. You know, I'm using more of a collage theme again for this activity anyway. But you also can use things like paints, colour pens. So yeah, really just think about what materials you want to use and what you like using. You know, you could use crayons or chalks possibly. So again, some really exciting materials. So I'm just going to then line up my orange with the bottom of my red. You can see what I've got, and then you can see the overlap. And then I'm just going to get my scissors and then just trim around nicely, just so again the orange fits the material that we're working on. And then if I show you what I've got, so far we've got red and an orange strip of paper. And then I'm just going to do the same, just carry on doing the same with all of my colours that I'm using. You know, I've got some foam here as well that I could use. What I'm thinking of is doing some coloured paper stripes and then adding some detail on, so maybe adding some foam circles or adding some tissue paper. So again, I've got a nice yellow, then add your strip of glue. Now what I think is nice and easy is if you're making crafts like this, and say for instance we're making, you know, 2 of the flower pots and 2 of the cards, I always find it easy to get them both to the same stage at the same time, and then it just makes the process nice and quick, and you've got an instant repeat. So if you miss what I'm doing the first time, you can always watch the second and just follow on from there, and it just gives you more time to follow on, you know, what I'm doing. And I think it makes it nice and easy for some people, which is what we want. Now if you haven't got enough glue like I have, then just add a bit more. Just peel back a little bit of the material just to make sure it's nice and secure on the surface. And now I'm on to my blue, so I'm going to get another bright colour. So I've got, after this, blue, and then I've got some green here as well. So I'm just thinking at the moment about colour and different colours that I can use. I hope you're all enjoying the activity as well. Do keep watching, and if you've got any questions or any ideas or anything, then message in the chat. But I am really excited next week to tell you more about this project, this new activity. And obviously it's open, you know, obviously to unique kids. You know, these workshops are Art with Holly workshops for, you know, specifically for the charity Unique Kids. But they are available to be watched by anyone else, you know, and if you want to join in, then you can do so. It's really about just enjoying craft and just having new ideas and new things to do. Right, so already you can see my card just building up nicely. Now I'm just going to work on some of the green. Now as you get further and further down the card, obviously because of the shape of the Easter egg, it gets smaller at the bottom, so you don't actually need long strips when you get nearer the bottom. You can just get away with using some smaller bits. And now I'm just going to apply my green. And each time I'm adding a strip, I'm just trying to make it as straight as I can do. But then I am just lining it up with the strip above, just so we haven't got that much white space showing. And if you want to decorate as well the inside of the card, then you're more than welcome to do that. I'm just trimming the bits off. So far we've got up to here. Now I think I'm on my last strip now, so I think I might use some purple. I do have some purple tissue paper, some purple foam. I'm just going to stick with card though for the minute, just so it's got a kind of similar texture to what I've already been using. Yeah, that should do it nicely. There we are. I managed to cut that exactly down to size. There we are. So we're just going to stick our purple material on nicely. So something like that. And then again, like I said before, just flip over the card and just trim off that excess material, and you'll be able to see you can just cut around the white template, and then here you have it. So now we've got our decorated Easter egg card that rocks, and we've got our Easter bunny heads already cut up. And now I am just going to start adding some tissue paper. So similar to what we did here, we're just going to add some tissue paper. And I've also got some foam, so I'm going to do some foam circles, I think. That could be quite nice. looking to see what I can use. I think I'm going to use some of the blue, the light blue. And then I've got, I know it's not foam, but some yellow paper, and then I'm just going to get out some tissue paper as well. So I've got like a pinky purple kind of tissue paper that I'm going to use too. So again, because the card isn't that big, just think about how much you're adding on. So I'm just going to get some tissue paper, just scrunch it up nicely, and then just stick it on. And again, it's a nice way to add a 3D element to your design, which is great. And while we're doing this, our tin cans are drying, or somewhat drying, which is great. There we are. So just going to stick it on there. Maybe do another one the other side. Roll it up. And then just stick it on nicely. And then I'll start by doing some circles, I think. So I'm just going to do some light blue foam circles, and then maybe just 2 of the yellow circles, just because we already have yellow on our design. So just think about the colours that you're using, and maybe if you've got too much of one colour, think about what other colours would go with that. So I'm just going to do maybe 1 yellow circle, and then like 2 of the light blue circles. And this foam is very easy to cut into. It's nice and relaxing, I think, cutting into foam. Nice and easy to mould. You know, look how clean that circle is. Nice and easy to cut. So if you don't have any foam at home, then you can use other materials, but it is really great for crafts. So anyone that does have foam, I think you'll know that it's nice. It's a nice material to cut into, and it's a nice material to use and everything. So again, I would recommend it. So I'm just going to apply a generous amount of that blue and just stick these circles that I've done on my design. Now what I tend to do is, if I'm using, say, a colour on top of another colour, I'll tend to add the second layer somewhere else, just so you haven't got both colours next to each other. I might add 1 more bit of yellow, just so we've got each area of our card covered. And also think about the scale of these circles. So you don't have to use big circles. If you want to use small circles, you could actually add multiple of them, like a little collection. So here is my decorated rocking card so far. I'm just going to put that to one side, I think, just so we can get our other card to the same stage. So I'm just going to leave this over here, and then I'm going to move on to my slightly smaller one. So again, you've seen how I do the cutting and sticking. Just get some colours and just cut a strip. I'm going to start with, again, the red, so a strip of red, and then it'll go nicely on top of the design. That is a little bit short actually, so I'm going to just do another one. There we are. And then just apply the glue. So again, 1 strip of glue. If you find it easy to have the card open while you're doing this, for the trimming of the excess material, then again, go ahead. So again, just stick our red nicely down there, flip the card over, and then trim. But it shouldn't be a problem having the card, just folded in half, because both sides are the same size anyway. And then we're going to move on to our orange. So again, about a centimetre and a half of the orange. A nice strip of glue underneath the red, and then just make sure that you line that second strip that you're applying. Just do the same with everyone, but make sure that you're just lining it up with the material above, so you're preventing yourself from showing any of that white space of the card, because that is not what we want. And then I can move on to my yellow. Now, I quite like the yellow that I was using before, actually. It's got like, I don't know, like, it feels like snake skin. Obviously, it's not snake skin, but it's got like a leathery kind of feel to it. So I'm going to use some of this material. But again, maybe you want a different combination. Maybe you want to use, you know, foam and colour paper, or maybe you want to do something completely different and you don't want to collage your card, and if you don't, that is fine. Keep messaging in the comments section if you have any questions or any feedback or whatever. That would be great. And keep sharing your designs as well. You know, if you've got any things that you want to show me after the workshop, then feel free to do that. If you're just watching, then again, that's fine. I'm just going to apply some of that blue to here. And don't forget, these videos are available to be watched after the workshop. So that again is fine. And then my final strip of the green. So I'm just going to cut a random piece of material and then just apply glue to the final bit. So again, this cutting and sticking method is quite easy. You know, you haven't got to trim the material to fit what you're doing. You can just stick it on and then cut around the back rather than trying to get it the exact size. It's quite a good technique to use with any craft, really. And then here we have our second standing card decorated with the stripes on. And then again, I'm going to go to my foam, but I think this time I'm going to use some purple foam. Some purple foam and some of this like mustardy yellow kind of tissue paper, as you can see here. So I'm going to start with tissue paper first, actually. I'm just going to rip off two bits to it. And just roll it in some glue, stick it on. Same again, so roll it up, roll it into some glue, and then just stick it on. And then we're going to have, I think, 2 circles of foam. So I'm just using like a lilac-y purple. It's like a lavender purple foam. And again, I'm just going to cut 2 circles. Foam is really easy to cut, like I said before, and it's nice and easy to feed through as well, so it feeds through the scissors really easily. So then I'm going to roll it into some glue and then stick it on. It's quite an easy process when you get the hang of it as well, so you can make a series of these quite quickly. So now I've got both of my cards to the same stage, so we've got the smaller one and then the slightly bigger one. So again, we've got 2 different sizes. And then we're going to go back to our rabbit heads. So we've got our bunny rabbit heads. Just imagine that they're stuck on there. So we're going to do that stage now. The reason I decorated them first is because we want the head to be going over the top, and it'll be a bit hard to then add the colour over and make sure that there's no white space showing. So that is the reason I did that. Now I'm going to add the blue, I think, to the one that I've done purple spots. So I'm just going to mix up the colours a little bit. So apply some glue on one side of the rabbit head, just at the bottom, so just there. And then try and stick it roughly in the centre. So that's the first stage. So something like that. And I think they look quite creative. And very different as well, because you don't normally get a card, you know, that shape. It's normally, you know, a square or a rectangle, or, you know, it's just a standard fold. So it's quite different to make a card that is like this. And then just add the rabbit head to this one too. And now the next stage is the ears. So we're just wanting some smaller little bits. So very similar to what we did last week, where we've got the white and then we've got small bits. We're going to do that with these. But because we've done coloured heads, I think we can really use whatever material, you know, whatever colour you want for the inside. So as we've got 2 rabbits, we're wanting 4 of the heads, so 4 of the mini ears to go inside. So make sure that you're making those smaller ones, obviously smaller than what you've got on here, just so you've got the background colour coming through. So that is what we want. So I'm going to do some from orange, I think. So I'm just using scrap material, as you can see. I've got lots of different offcuts and everything on my workspace. I'm just going to cut out an ear, so something like that, so not too big, and then place it over the card that you're wanting to cut through, and then again trim round. And you've seen me do this before. This is a really easy way to duplicate something. So say if you're making, like we did before, like the eyes, the circles for the eyes using black card, you could, again, if it's not too small, place it on the material and then just trim round, and then it allows you to get 2 things that are near enough the same, you know, they look the same, and it's a lot easier than freehand cutting it. So I'm just going to place those ears in there. So I'll show you so far what I've done. There we are, so something like this. And then we're going to move on to our second card. And I'm going to, I said before, didn't I, that I was going to use the yellow. So again, make sure the bottom of that ear is nice and straight, or as straight as you can get it. There we are. So again, something like this. And then place that second bit over the material that you're cutting out of. And then trim round really carefully. And then you can then roll it into some glue. So I always find it nice and easy just to roll it in the glue rather than sticking it and getting it all over the table. Because then it makes all of your other materials that you're using quite hard to handle. So that is again another little idea. So just push it down. If you haven't got enough glue on, like I haven't on this little piece, then you can again just flick it back a little bit and apply the glue. So far we have 2 cards decorated with rabbit heads and ears, check. And now we can do the eyes. So you just want either googly eyes or black card. Now I've got some googly eyes here, so I'm just going to find 2 for each one that are the same size. Okay, that was easier than I thought. Okay, so I've got two sets of eyes, so I can just roll it in the glue and then place it on. And again, you want it about 1 inch from the top of your bunny rabbit head, I would say. And then just make sure that they're a little bit apart. So I'll show you. Now, these googly eyes can be quite fiddly, but they are really cool to use. So yeah, something like that. And then we're gonna go on to the next one. Again, roll it in the glue, then off, and then quickly onto the bunny rabbit head, roughly 1 inch from the top, and then just make sure that they're a little bit apart and they're kind of like an even space away from the side, just so you know they're central. So now we've got eyes on both of our designs, and then you just want in a little nose, so don't worry too much about this. I'm just going to use some pink, I think some pink card. Just going to tear a little bit off, and then you want in like an oval kind of shape. And again, just think about the size of it in relation to the bunny. So we've just got getting it all sticky. So I've got 2 oval shapes here. And then just going to roll into some glue and then stick nicely on the design. Oh, those bunnies look really cute. Just stick it nicely on the design. And then we're just going to work on our white whiskers real quick. So I'm just going to go back to my offcuts of card that I had before from when we made the card to start with. So I'm just going to have 2 on each side. So I'm just going to do 4 to start with. So just cut roughly 1.5 inches, and then I want in 4 of these little strips. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then roll the end of the white card into the glue, and then stick it on. The end of the white card into the glue, and then stick it on, and then the same again. The end of the white card into the glue, stick it on, and then the final one, the end of the white card in that glue. I'm just going to add a bit more glue to that one actually, just to make sure that it sticks down properly. So again, you've got something like that, and they look really cool. And I'm just going to get my black marker just to do its little mouth. So something like that. And then we're going to do the same on the other card. So just get some of that off-cut material, 1.5 inches up, and then to the side. And then you want it 4, so then just trim roughly an even amount. And then go the end of the white card in that glue. And then just keep repeating the process. And then we're just going to draw on the mouth. And then there you have it. So we've got our 2 bunny rabbit cards, our 2 standing cards, and they rock like that. Whoa! That felt really uneasy. Something. They do work, I swear. Yeah. Something like that. So there we are. Yeah, there we are. They look cool. Yeah, there we are. So we've got our Easter eggs with our bunny rabbits on top, and they look really cool. Now I'm going to move on to our second craft. So at the start of the session we had our white tin cans, and mine are not exactly dry, but I can still use them. I'm just going to get to a bit where there's plenty of paint on it. So maybe these 2 sides. Now what you're wanting is, we're just going to get all our materials out and then we can apply our stuff. So you want in 2 eyes, so I'm going to use again my googly eyes. This time I'm just going to go a size higher, I think. Yeah, there we are. And then we're wanting our pink nose, so we're just going to do 2 of these oval shapes using this pink card. Now something like this, and I know that you will probably be doing this after, because I know that the cans won't be dry, but just watch for after. And then when I've finished doing this, we actually have a little treat, because I'm going to show you how we can do our planting then. Obviously being very careful, because I know that my tin cans are still in the process of drying and we don't want to ruin them. So I've got 2 ovals, And then we're wanting 2 of the feet. So we're wanting 2 white card feet on each side. I've got some spare material for this. I was trying to use my offcuts, but you wanted them fairly big, and the idea is they're going to sit at the bottom of the can and go on an angle. So as you'll have seen, I think I'll just hold my phone up. You might be able to see like this. So something, I don't know if you can see very well, something like that. So we've got 2 giant ovals and they're kind of on an angle. So yeah, something like this. So we're just wanting 4 of those now, because obviously we've got 2 cans and we want 2 feet on our rabbit. So we're just gonna cut around like that. And then we're just wanting to do this again twice, just so we've got the right amount. So as you can see already, I'm just getting my kind of things ready just to stick on all in one go. It just makes the process a little bit easier. So again, I've just placed my template onto the thing that I'm cutting out of, so white card. And then I'm just trimming around nicely with a pair of scissors. There we are. And then we're going to go again onto some of this offcut material. Now I tend to keep a lot of offcuts and stuff just because the little bits come in useful, you know, in use for anything else that you're making. You know, if you're adding decorative like material and everything, then that is again a really good thing to do. Yeah, so just save any offcut material and different things. Think about different colours, patterns, materials that you can use for these crafts, and remember that you don't all have to use the same materials that I'm using. They're just really guidelines and ideas. And if you do want to decorate any of the crafts, you know, especially these cards that we've just made, then think about anything else that you can do to decorate and add to after. You know, for these cards, if I wanted to, I could add some sequins or some glitter, but I actually quite like them as they are. But again, think about things like coloured pens, anything else that you can add to make it your own if you want. So again, I've got my feet here, and then we're wanting some white detail in them. So you're wanting like a circle and then 2 little ovals. So I'll get some of this pink card and I'll show you one. So you're wanting like a circle that you can stick there. And I'll do the same on this side. And then 2 little ovals that you can do. Or something. Or even just something like that, just adding like 1 oval. Just so you've got some of that pink on the design. And then again for our other foot, so we've got a circle there, or like an oval kind of shape. I've got the same on the other side. Just going to place that down there. And then we've got 2 mini little bits that we can add on. Something like that. And then we're going to get another one on there as well. That's a bit small. So as you can see, I'm cutting freehand, but again, you don't have to do that. And then just place it on there. And if I just stick these on, I'll show you what I've done and how it can look. I'm just again rolling all the different bits that I've just cut out into the glue. So something, if I hold the peak for you the right way, something like that. And I'm going to do the same process again. And then once we've done this, we can start sticking to our pot. So we've got the googly eyes ready, or some black card circles, or whatever you want to use. We've got the nose and we've got the feet. So I'm just going to put the pot back that way a little bit. Now I'm just going to add a little bit more glue to mine just because my pots are not dry. So just think about that. To start off with, right, I think we're going to use the googly, no, we'll use the feet first. I'm just going to add a bit more glue to the bottom of it. And just place it gently on the design. Add a bit more glue to the bottom. And then place it gently on the design. Just trying to get covered in paint. And then just add the nose on. So again, you can see I'm adding lots of glue to mine. Googly eyes on. And then just roll it around in plenty of the glue. And then stick those kind of, just going to stick those roughly at the top of the pot. So if I just turn that around, we've got something like this. So if I show you there, then I'm going to do the same with my other pot. So plenty of the glue on the feet. So just put loads on of it. And then same again, loads of glue on the feet. Roll it in the glue, so we've got the nose on there. And then plenty of glue on those eyes. Just put loads of it on. And then just put the eyes at the top of the pot. And then plenty of glue on there. Now I added another coat of paint, you know, at the start of the session, but before that I'd actually had one coat on, so some of it's dry and some of it isn't. So again, if you want more of the white on, just add some more paint, just add more layers, but again, remember to add the layers on, let it dry, and then keep repeating that. And then these are my pots here that I've done. And then for the special treat that I mentioned before, I've got my little flowers here. So we've got some nice pinks, and I've got a bit of compost as well in here. So I'm just going to sprinkle, I'm just going to try not to get it all over my materials, just sprinkle a little bit of compost in there. Try not to get it on the pot as well, because remember, Holly, the paint is wet. So I'm just going to hold it kind of this way. I'm just going to drop it in. Just try and be careful. As careful as you can be. So I'm just going to keep sprinkling the compost in there. There we are. So again, what we've done here is made bunny rabbit flower holders, just using tin cans, you know, just an ordinary recycle material that you would just probably throw away or whatever. So it's quite nice to reuse it and make some craft from it. Just going to sprinkle a little bit more in. Trying to get the compost everywhere. And then I've got my little flower that I'm just going to put in. There we are. And then I'm just going to add a bit more of the compost. And then just pat it down a little bit just so the flower stays in place. Now I've just used flowers, but you can also use little seeds. I'm just going to sprinkle it in there. And then just pat the compost down. There we are. And then that is my first one done. And if I just hold it around and show you, we've got the bunny holder, and then we have our plant nicely in there. So again, a really fun craft to do. And then I've got 3 more little flowers here, so I'm just going to start by sprinkling some more compost in this one. You know, try and get as much of the compost actually in the tin as you can. Just pat it down. And then maybe just put the flowers in, so just arrange them in. And you can also use seeds. Seeds are quite nice to use. And then just add in the compost around the flowers and just pat them around just to hold them in place. There we are. So I'll just show you what I've made really quickly. So we've got one here, and then we've got one little flower pot holder here. I'm just going to add a bit more of the white paint to the side of the tub actually. But again, I hope you've seen how you can really make something. You know, you can put these outside in your garden. You know, you can really make something just using an ordinary recyclable material that you can just put outside. So again, a really nice idea. And if you want, just keep adding layers of that white paint when it starts to dry, and then gradually you'll be able to just see the white without the tin coming through. But that is all for now, and I hope you've enjoyed this session. So we've got our bunny holders, and then we've got, I'm going to try not to get soil everywhere, our rocking cards, which are quite cool. But thank you very much for joining me, and I'll see you next week at 10 o'clock on Facebook Live, and I'll tell you more about this new project and everything. But thank you very much. Enjoy the planting, and I'll see you next week, everyone. Bye bye.